Welcome again to Mission Alive, coming from our mission office. I have been telling some stories about some priests in Papua New Guinea in relation to our martyrs, but also in relation to commitment to what we believe and commitment to a job, commitment to Christ. So I want to just share another couple of stories about Sister Lucy, who was with me in a bush parish for about 10 years. Sister Lucy from Northern Victoria was a cook all her life. She used to cook at the harvest time on the farm. And she said once that she heard the call to go to the convent, but she kept running away from it for some time until she couldn't run away anymore. But she tells lots of stories about her cooking and her time in the kitchen looking after people. And I want to tell these stories because she was one who, she did hear the call, and she went out there where it's a different world. Used to tell a story, Brother George, he's another famous man, we can tell stories about him. He used to come in on the boat from Mule Island and arrive early in the morning. And as it was at that stage, he had to be fasting all night, but he would head straight up to the church and go to Mass, and then he would head round to the kitchen to Sister Lucy, and she would give him breakfast, which he probably really needed at that stage. That was one story of Sister Lucy being available and helping people. She tells the story herself. One stage, she used to have always in the kitchen there some young girls from around the area, from the villages. Partly to give them some training, cooking and cleaning, many other things, a bit of education. And they would also be a big help in looking after the place and doing cooking and getting meals ready for the priests and brothers and sisters and whoever else. So it was a normal thing to have a number of girls living in and working around the kitchen. Well, at one stage, she had 5 girls in, and they were all pregnant with no husband. So which was a bit remarkable, you might say. And Sister Lucy was fairly strict in her own ways. And there was some comment from others around the area, some of the priests and that this was perhaps just a little bit not quite right. It was a bit judgmental. To which Sister Lucy responded, well, somebody's got to look after them. Somebody's got to look after them. And that was her policy. She didn't like the situation they had landed themselves in. She didn't condone it, but somebody's got to look after them. So she did, and she did it very well. There's another story there too she used to tell, was a young teacher at the time. This is pre-independence, but independence was coming up. And the teacher came to her and said, Sister Lucy, this is my wife. She's from the village. I'm a teacher, and I can see that after independence I will get promoted and I will go up in the department. And I will have to go to functions and dinners and meet people. And I want you to educate my wife how to cook and to clean and how to iron my shirt. So Sister Lucy did. And some years later, when he did go up in the ranks, he came to her, she was at some function for education schools, and he came up and he indicated his shirt and said, Sister, my shirt, which was ironed perfectly. So these are the sort of things that might seem a bit quaint, but this was important for that teacher. It was important for his wife. So she was able to go with him as he travelled on his career. And in that too, then it probably in some ways saved the marriage, because it often happens in those places where the man is educated and goes on with life and the wife is uneducated from the village and she finds it difficult to stay with him. So these are some of the stories of Sister Lucy's stories in the kitchen. I tell these stories because she did hear the call of Jesus to follow. She did enter the convent, and she took with her her talents and gifts and she went out there where it matters. And many other stories of her and others, out there where it matters, out there serving people. She left home, she left family, she left everybody, and she went out there. So we follow Jesus. And this is still the call. Come, follow me. And often we don't know where that is going to take us. But we follow, and that is part of our faith, and that's what we mean by mission. We go to carry out the mission that Jesus gives us. Have a happy day on mission today.